In mathematics, we call it word mass. That is bracket of division first, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. So, to make it easy for you, what you do mathematically, you first of all solve this bracket. You solve this bracket. You solve this bracket. You will now solve this bracket. This whole bracket, the big one. But you have solved it before you now go and add this one. Now, the dividend is 70. Bracket is 1 point. Growth rate. What is growth rate? Who can tell me the growth rate?
20%.
20%. 1.2. All over. What is NV? Is giving.
4 naira.
Is
4 naira.
What is NV?
4 naira.
4 naira. Is there any issue cost? Is there any issue cost? Issue? Is there any cost of issue?
No, sir.
No. This bigger bracket plus 0.2. This one times this one. 0.7 times 1.2. Point 7 plus 1.2. Press your calculator. Figure, please. What's helping me? Who is helping me?
You are coming, sir. The first one is 0.41. 0.41.
0. Divide by 4 plus 0.2. So by 4, 1 divided by 4. What do you want?
Hello, sir.
You've done everything.
Yes, yes. Let me do it one after the other, please.
No, I want you to. I wanted you to do the big bracket, the small bracket, then the big bracket. Don't forget that this one is still the big. What mass? Bracket of division. As long as there's a bracket, you do the one in the bracket first.
0.2
plus 0.2. That will give us 0.41. Convert it to percentage. It should become 41%. It will be 41%. That will be 0.21, which is that small bracket, the big bracket. 0.41 divided by 4, we give 0.21. plus 0.2 will give you 0.41. And that will give us 41%. Don't forget, board math. It was always, particularly in accounting, when you are doing something like this, always use bracket of division, multiplication, and fraction. They changed it in the modern mathematics. They introduced SS and SS book. You see that they changed it. It's not the same thing. They just added one or two things to it. I can call it, I think, BO, BOH, something like BOH or BODMAH. I can't remember briefly now because it's long I taught a secondary school student, but it's not the same thing. You start with bracket addition, then go with multiplication, addition, and subtraction. So it means if you have a bracket of multiplication, you do that one. Bracket of division, you do that one. Bracket of addition, you do that one. Bracket of subtraction, you do that one. So it must follow this method, class method. That's what I'm trying to say. So this is growth model. In case you have any question, subsequently you ask me. But what you should understand is that when you have just paid your dividend, it is that dividend is SD. When you are yet to pay the dividend, this is school div. You need to convert it to SD by removing that dividend that is yet to be paid from the market value. But if they say that you have already paid or you are just paid or you have paid dividend, they are telling you that that dividend already excluding that mark is the market value is that dividend already. So that dividend that have just been paid, market value has been affected. You don't need to remove it. But if it's yet to be paid, you need to dividend from the market value. That's the first one we did with dividend model. Dividend model gave us that it has just been paid or it has been paid. That's why we did not remove the dividend from market value. Are you following me? So, Madam Esther, if you look at your book, you will see there is an error there. Correct it by deleting that plus 0.2. Correct it by deleting that 0.2 plus 0.2 that is added to 4 naira.
Which error? Which
What
book are you referring to?
Is equal. Look at your book.
Like the first book.
They have 4 naira plus 0.2. Delete that plus 0.2. It's not supposed to be there. The 0.2 that is supposed to be there is this one plus 0.2, not 4 naira plus 0.2. Remove this one. I see my board. There's 0.2 here, plus 0.2 here, then plus 0.2 here. Remove this one. It's typographical error. Remove it. Do you understand? It's typographical error. So remove it. Now, having said all this, we have to look at Another way of calculating our cost of capital or cost of equity, and that is what we call capital asset pricing model. Another method. We have dividend model, we have Gordon model, then we have Capm, that's CAPM, capital asset pricing model. Now, what is capital asset pricing model talking about? Like I said, it is another alternative of measuring your cost of capital. That's when we go to equity, cost of equity. What we are looking at is to determine the relationship between risk and return. There's always a saying that the higher the risk, the higher what the return. Except like a risk manager, you won't like to take risk. If you take risks, you expect returns. So we want to measure risks and see how these risks that we measure, how does it affect our return? And how do we measure risk? What is risk? What is risk? Risk is a kind of situation where you cannot say 100% that an event will occur. You can't say 100% that this event will occur in the future. Many of you that are taking lecture to write mail, but I can bet you that not 100% of you students will write mail. Some will not write. But you have taken a risk to take lecture, pay for it, not knowing whether you will write or not. So we can measure your risk. Some are 50-50, 50-50. That is, you must add a percentage to it to measure your risk. The event that will take place in May, that is ICANN exam, that will take place in May 2026, there is no 100% probability that everyone that took lecture will write, even in this school, Infonesis and other schools. You don't have 100% assurance that everyone that is taking lecture today will write even financial management. It could be 50-50, it could be 60-40, it could be that those that will write is 60 and those that will not write is 40. You can say 70-30, it could be 80-20, it could be 90-10, it could be 10-90. Now, what it means is that you are measuring your risk. So we have ways of measuring your risk using standard deviation. Standard deviation is a way of measuring risk. The higher your standard deviation, the higher your risk. Standard deviation is a way of measuring risk. Beta factor, BETA factor is a way of measuring your risk. It has a sign like this, beta. Covariance is also a way of measuring your risk. Variance is also a way of measuring your risk. What is a ways of measuring the risk. So you will not see us talking about the relationship between risk and return in capital markets. I already told you that return is also the same as cost of equity. Cost of equity for the company that is going to pay to its investors or shareholders, then return to the shareholders that they are expecting at the end of the period for their investment in that company, in that organization. It's returned to them. The organization will pay because the cost of their equity or cost of capital to the organization. Why to the shareholders it is a return. So we are looking at the relationship between risk and return in capital market using Capm. Now, what it means is that the investor's return is divided into two, which is one, the risk-free rate of interest. There are some investments that do not carry risks. And most of these investments that don't carry risks is what we call the risk-free rate. They are risk-free. They don't carry risks. What you know is like government treasury bills. They don't carry risks. Government bonds. They don't carry risks. Where they tell you to put 90 days, buy treasury bills of 90 days from government. By 90 days, government will pay you. Because government is always big. They have this money. They can easily pay you. So there's no risk involved in government investment. And that's why it is called risk-free. The risk is zero. The risk is zero. So investment is always divided using, if you are using a capital asset pricing model, we have this assumption that government risk is zero, is free. So it's divided into government risk. But when you now go to private people if you invest, the possibility of your losing your money is there, of not getting it. So definitely for you to get a return, because your risk is now high, is more than zero. If your risk is more than zero, there must be an additional return. There will be an additional return expected from that investment. And that additional return is what we call the market risk. That is, the market risk is always higher than the government risk, which is risk-free rate. The market risk, ROM, is always higher than what? The ROF, which is risk-free rate. The ROM is always for public. The ROF, which is risk-free, is for government investments. Because there is a risk that you might not get your money back. So you ask for higher returns. That is, the returns in the market for public is always higher. And that's why you notice that if CBN says that the interest rate is 20%, definitely commercial banks will not give you loan at 20%, even if the CBN said they will give you 20%. No commercial bank will give you 20%. They will add market rate, market risk to it. And the market risk is because they might not get all their money from you. So they will try as much as possible to get extra interest. So definitely they will not give you at 20%. Some will give you at 23, Some will give you at 24. Some will even give you at 30. Some will even give you at 30. It's better. So now, there is a procedure for using Capm to estimate our cost of equity. Number one is for us to estimate the market parameters. That is, let us determine the risk rate. The risk rate. Many a times, the risk rate of return is given in the question. So the parameters are the risk rate, the return on market, and the variance of the market return. The variance of the market return. So the market parameters is what I'm giving you now. The risk-free rate, the expected return of on the market, then the variance of the market return. That is number one. We have to estimate that one, the parameters. Then we are going to calculate the beta coefficient. This we use the historical analysis. The historical analysis of the price of the shares in the market to get the beta coefficient. And I told you that the beta coefficient it measures the risk. Then on the last, we will now estimate the cost of equity using the beta coefficient and the market parameters, which is put in this formula. And the formula is what I want to state on the board. I will call it return on equity, ROE, equals to, which is stated as KE, ROF, which is stated as risk-free rate, plus beta, the beta coefficient, bracket ROF minus ROF. This is to calculate the cost of equity. It's also to calculate the return on equity. So ROE is set as K. So whenever you want to use, you can put it ROE. If you are getting ROE, you put it ROE. If you are getting KE, you put it KE. Not fully aware that KE and ROE are the same thing. Where ROF is risk-free rate, beta is better. Then in bracket, you have return on market minus risk-free rate. That is how to use, that is how we derive the formula for calculating our, return on equity or cost of equity. Are we there?
Yes, sir.
Now look at this next question. Can you help us read
You said
10.4?
10.4. Okay.
Can you help us read 4?
Can I do what?
Read 10.4. Read.
Okay. If the risk-free interest rate is 8%, the market return is 12%, and the beta covariance is 1.2%. 1.2.
The market coefficient is 1.2, and this rate is what? Is 8%, where the market return is 12%. You see, the risk rate is lower than the market return. All we do is just slot it into the formula. We just slot it into the formula to get our return. And that will be risk-free rate is 8% plus beta is 1.2, and this bracket is 12 minus 8, and that will give us 8 plus 1.2 times 4. 1.2 times 4. That will give us 4.8. 4.2 times 4. Then it will give us 12.8%. So our market, our return on equity or cost of equity will be 12.8%. 12.8%.
Hello, sir.
I'm hearing you.
Please, if they said 8%, why are we using it as 8 and not that percent?
Using everything absolute figure. We didn't turn it to.
Okay, we didn't need to.
There's no need putting it converting again. Just use this street.
Okay.
There's no point. That's double wahala. We don't have time for giving ourselves problem. We just use everything is in whole number. So we just use it like that. Absolute figure. Now, sometimes you are asked to, you will not be given the beta coefficient. So if you are asked to calculate the beta coefficient, which is the beta factor, in case you are not given, you use this formula: covariance return on equity multiplied by return on market over variance of return on market over variance of return on market. That is how to calculate your covariance. That's your beta coefficient or your beta factor. Your beta factor is covariance of RE multiply by return on market divided by variance return. This give you your so calculate you will be getting information to calculate covariance and information to calculate variance. Information calculate covariance and information calculate variance. I want you to look at transition 9.5. Then subsequently,
I have a question, sir.
okay, you have a question.
Yes.
Continue.
Okay, what is this RA? RA is what? What does it represent?
That's what the RE in your book is saying as return on return on equity. You will see that they define it. That's the RE. That's the one I changed to RE here on the board. Return on equity using Capm. I say it is setting as KE, the cost of equity. RF is return on market. Madam, you are welcome back. See, the network has to, log you out. We were just looking at capital assets. Just looking at capital asset pricing model. And we have this formula on the board. ROE equals to ROF plus beta bracket ROM minus ROF, where we say that beta is measuring risk. You were there when I talked about the relationship. Capm is looking at the relationship between risk and returns. And I said beta factor or beta coefficient, what it does is to measure risk. What it does is to measure risk. So what we have said again when you were not around is that ROE, which is return on equity, is still the same thing as KE. That is cost of equity. Cost of equity is to the organization that is paying it. Return on equity is the shareholders or investors that is expecting the return. Both of them are the same thing. It's a matter of semantics, the way you twist your mouth, or who is looking at it. If it is the organization, it's the cost of equity. If it is the investor, it's a return to the investor. So if the investor is expecting 10%, it means the organization will pay 10%. So the cost of equity will be 10% of the organization, while to the investor, the return will be 10%, which is 10%, 10% is equal to 10%. Are we there?
Yes, sir.
So we have looked at an example which Madam Esther will help me send to your WhatsApp. You snap it and help me send it to your WhatsApp. You can send it along with the solution. to Madam Anu, please. You will still get the recording. You will still get the record because it's being recorded for future reference. Now, we are moving forward. We want to do another question. We want to look at illustration 10.6. Madam Esther, help me send 10.5 and 10.6 to Arjun. So what you are saying is 10.4, 10.5, 10.6 to her. Please. Stop recording. So if you are equating year 2000, if you are equating year 2000 to look at 2004, you have 100,000 plus 1 plus G raised to power 4, which is 10 years minus 1. For year 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, that's 5 years. So N is 5 years minus 1. We now have 120, which is year 2004 dividend. Now, using change of formula, what it means is that 1 plus G raised to 4 equals to 120,000 divided by 100,000. Are we there?
Yes, sir.
Mathematically, that would be 1 plus G equal to 4th root of this 4 will become a root. 6 equals power. It will become 4th root of 120 over 100,000 give us 1.2. So what is the 4th root of 1.2? What's the 4th root? Use your calculator. The 4th root of 1.2.
1.04.
That's 1.04.
What is this?
1.04.
66.
1.0.
So you are supposed to
what?
1.04.
04.
66. 66.
66 into 4 decimal. That's 66. Now, what it means is that G will now be equal to This is plus 1. If it comes over here, it will be 1.0466 minus 1. And that will give us G will now be 1.166 minus 1 will be
0.04.
0.04. So if you now approximate into convert it into percentage, you have 4.66%. So that is the growth rate. It is growing by 4.66%. Approximately, it's growing by 5%. That is what it means.
Yes, sir.